River cruising with the kids or the grandkids or both. Is it even possible? Today we're going to check out the options. Stay tuned. Joining me today to explore river cruising with kids is Barb Chamberlain, travel expert with Direct Travel, and Neil Dudley, business development manager for AmaWaterways. Hi, folks. Welcome back to RTE-Travel Talk.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Neil. It's great to have you back with us. You know, one of the most popular topics on this show is obviously river cruising. Now, when most of us think about river cruising as a vacation, we're thinking about, it's mostly for older travelers with no children. And in fact, that's why it's even preferred by some, I think, which is kind of a popular misconception. Now, I happen to know that there's one particular river cruise that actually welcomes children, and that's AmaWaterways. And that's why we have you here today, Neil, to help us out a little bit with that. And Barb, perhaps you can talk about all of the other river cruises and how they compare. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Perfect. All right. So why don't we dive right in? Barb, why don't you give us a bit of an overview on river cruises that are family friendly?
Not a problem. One of the reasons why I wanted to have Neil here today from AMA is because they are looking at strengthening their program for children.
Okay.
Which really pleases me. Now I say that, and I want to highlight that the ships aren't going to be run over with children. I mean, children only have school breaks July and August, maybe March break, like March in Canada, and goes into April in the US, and then late December breaks.
Okay.
So it's not that they're going to be children all over the place. I really want to emphasize that. Anyhow, there are some other river cruises that do have children. Uniworld has what they call their multi-generation departures. There's a few of them each year, and children are definitely welcomed on those. Children are welcome on other sailings, but they don't have a lot on their other sailings. Avalon really doesn't have a outline for children at all. Children can go, but there's nothing extra for them. You have Scenic and Emerald, who are owned by the same company. And once again, children are allowed, but once again, there's nothing that they can do over and above what their parents are doing.
Right.
And there's Tauck. Tauck has a program called Bridges, which is for families, and it's land and some river cruising. So AMA has decided that, they're going to go a step above. So they are going to have smaller bikes on board and helmets, and they are going to have hamburgers and French fries and pizza, and in the evening steak and French fries or something like that. And they do have the big chess board game up on the sun deck, and they have their pool or whirlpool on board. And they also have cooking classes and maybe some shore excursions that are a little geared towards the children. So I think it's great. I think it's a happy win-win for families.
So Neil, what prompted AmaWaterways to break into the family market?
We being a family-owned and operated company, family was very important to our owners, of course. Multi-generational travel has always been something we've looked at. And, initially it started off thinking somebody along the parents wanting to bring their adult children, still wanting to travel with them. And then it kind of expands from there with them having grandchildren and going, well,
Yep.
That there's lots of grandchildren who like to bring their whole families along on trips. That's been very, very popular. And we really started to explore that option. It's an area of travel which river cruising hadn't traditionally looked into. As Barb said, traditionally we have always been as an industry, adults only, no children kind of thing. But there is that big area for multi-generational travel. So we really started to look at that. And we looked at it from a very unique point of view in that we want to change the design of our ships.
Okay.
And we will talk about it. Obviously, we have a long-term partnership with Adventures by Disney.
Right.
And that was really key in designing our ships to really be geared towards families and such. I mean, we have interconnecting staterooms and suites. We're the only river cruise line that has that. We have the opportunity to provide triple and quads, depending on the ages of the children, and even have 3 beds in an actual cabin, again, being the only river cruise line that can do that. I mean, it's great to hear about Uniworld. We're very aware, and Tauck having specific departures that are geared towards family, but we really want to make it open no matter when. We know when the families are more likely to travel, but you never absolutely know. So we want to make the opportunity there year round.
So Neil, the staterooms on board your ships, if I understood you correctly, you've got more opportunity for triples and quads.
So when Rudy designed our balcony suites, we want to be the first river cruise line to bring balconies onto our ships.
Yep.
Essential feature on river cruising because there's always something to see day or night. But Rudy wanted to perfect the balcony experience and make it allowable for triples. And how he did that was by making an outdoor balcony and a matching mirrored indoor balcony. The one big advantage is if the weather is not nice, which you can't always predict the weather, you've got that indoor balcony. But that indoor balcony also allows us to facilitate that area to turn it into a third berth in these twin balcony shared suites. So basically, it'll be a rollaway couch with the hideaway bed and such, and then housekeeping. They don't keep it down during the day. They fold it back up so it's a sitting area during the day. And in the evening, that is what provides the third or fourth berth. And it really, when we say quads, it's limited. It really is depending on the age of the children, because they'd obviously have to be sharing that rollaway bed and stuff like that. So,
and obviously sharing a bathroom.
Yes.
Speaking of ages, we actually had a comment on the channel there a few days ago wanting to know the minimum age for a family cruise with, I believe, you, AmaWaterways. So what is the minimum age that a child can come on board?
Because river cruising, it operates within the confines of various countries within the European Union. A lot of this is set down by laws. It's very different to ocean cruising when they're in international waters. So for us and all river cruise lines, basically no children under the age of 4 are allowed on to a river cruise ship. So it's basically 4 and above. We do have one exception in our particular program, and that's Africa, where it has to be 12 or above. Different situation down there. But with the rest of our programs, yes, it's 4 and above for children to be on. And it's not just AMA, it's all river cruise lines in Europe have that.
Now, one of the things, Neil, that's always come across my desk about river cruising, and when they start to think about family, is what are you going to do to keep the kids entertained? Obviously, in Europe, if the kids are into history and that sort of thing, it's a wonderful, wonderful experience. But as you and I both know, kids can kind of get bored easily. So, have you got special provisions for activities on board and special excursions and that sort of thing?
I always like to say the advisors really need to kind of ascertain what the children are all about. So now, if these are younger children, as you said, Ken, looking for children's programs, children's activities on board, that's not what they're going to find with us.
Okay.
But this is where we've got that amazing partnership with Adventures by Disney. So I always say, listen, if your children are younger and you want to go on a family river cruise and take them, look at the Adventures by Disney program, because they do develop programs and activities for the children on board. What I always like to say for AmaWaterways is exactly what you alluded to. We don't necessarily cater our programs. The tours are all there and such like that. But there are children who I will say, probably 12, 13, 14, getting into that age where they really appreciate the culture and the history of Europe. And they're going to appreciate those tours. And by having active-based tours where they can actually do these tours on bike or hiking, that also appeals to the children wanting to be more active and outgoing and such like that. And as Barb mentioned, we actually do have children's bikes on board our ship. So depending on the age, that works very well too.
Right on. Barb mentioned that you actually supply a bit of a menu for the kids that may not be a fan of European cuisine.
I like that twist on it. Obviously, if you're talking to families and saying the catering, basically the menu designs, we always want to ensure that no matter where we are, all guests are getting that authentic culinary experience from the area we are traveling for.
Exactly.
But we know that some people, not just children, adults
true.
as well,
True.
might sit there and look at that menu going, no, I don't think so. So we always have what we call standard North American fare. And that has hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, a regular steak, and of course, fish and chips. That works very well because that definitely appeals to the children, or it appeals to the adults who just want that childlike menu, I suppose. Because I'll be honest, our French fries on board are spectacular. I get them with every single meal, no matter how fancy it is. So,
well, it's in the word, right? French. So it still is European.
It's very true. I go with that all the time.
Barb, is river cruising as a family activity? Is it really something that's starting to take off, or what's going on with that?
It is. I think ever since COVID, and I mean, we blame a lot of things on COVID, but I think we can say thank you to COVID for this. But ever since COVID, families want to travel together. Grandma and grandpa want to take their children, or mom and dad want the grandparents to be there and the children to be there. It's a growing market. It truly, truly is. And I do say that if you want to have children and have a family on board, book early.
And I would think that you would want to book early for the availability of those adjoining staterooms and the like, I would expect.
Absolutely.
Now, is there any one particular itinerary that would be better than the other, do you think?
I just think it's the ages of the
Hmm.
children, like if the children are 12 and above, they can go to Africa, and what a fabulous
Yeah.
trip that would be. But as far as Europe is concerned, unless Neil corrects me, I think any of the itineraries would be great. I think the Rhine is fabulous. I think the Danube is fabulous. It's just there's so much to see, and I think children would really, really appreciate it. I'm trying to tell my clients not to take their grandkids to Jamaica or to the Southern Caribbean at March break, but to go to Europe. I mean, there's no lines and there's not a lot of people, and Emma is sailing, and
Well, if I had my druthers and had to put a spoke in, I would vote for a cruise on the Rhine down the Rhine Gorge with 35 plus castles to see.
absolutely, and it's amazing. It's you just sit on the top deck or inside the lounge, depending on weather, and you just you see all these beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
castles.
So Neil, tell us a little bit more about this partnership that you have with Adventures by Disney. What exactly is that all about? Are those special departures, or how does that work?
Adventures by Disney and ourselves started working together a number of years ago. And basically, they approached because the Adventures by Disney program had been obviously up and going and exploring different areas. And they had requests for exploring Europe. They had requests for really getting that, that old world knowledge
Yep.
in and with families and such. So basically, Adventures by Disney takes our entire ship. They
Okay.
have about, I want to say, every year between 6 and 8 departures throughout the entire year, whereas a full ship, and basically it is a Disney family style profile. Now, the one we talked about misconceptions earlier, I often get asked when people are saying, hey, I've got younger family, they want to do Disney, are they going to get to see Mickey and Minnie and Pluto on board?
Mm.
It's not a Disney theme park on the river cruise ship. Adventures by Disney is a program they have designed for families to travel together and experience the country and the destination. But they put into children's activities. They do have, different things geared towards family travel, which we don't on our regular cruises. So it works really well. They've been growing every year. Like I said, they started with a couple of departures when we started this partnership. And yeah, now 6 to 8 departures every year, and including some of our exotics as well.
So when you mentioned the exotics, Neil, what would be an example of an exotic with Adventures by Disney?
Well, I believe Adventures by Disney has just started looking at our Mekong program. So again, doing something quite unique. Our other exotics obviously are Egypt and Africa. They have so many people coming year after year going, I love this program. And they are looking for new destinations and such. So I know it's not out of the realm of possibility because they have looked at those. It's just a case of lining it up with within the next couple of years, they'll be launching into those exotics as well. So
Now, I don't know whether you can answer this, but you mentioned the characters, so they really shouldn't expect to see any of the characters on board, right?
no, definitely you're not going to be hosted by Mickey Mouse or Minnie Mouse on board. But Disney has a host that they bring on board in conjunction with our cruise manager to really give that full Disney product to it.
Yeah.
And that's really where Adventures by Disney stems from, really going out and exploring and having different adventures around the world with Disney. So,
Well, yeah, I could think of a number of the Disney storylines that could be weaved around some of the exotic river cruises. It could be quite fascinating. So, Barb, when you get right down to it, is this a vacation you'd recommend for a multi-generational family?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I there's no doubt about it in my mind. I mean, river cruising, unlike ocean cruising, river cruising is very laid back.
Yeah.
And the river cruise comes into port, and you have your breakfast, and you get off, and you go on one of your excursions. And if you want to come back for lunch, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. And you can do another excursion in the afternoon, or do your own thing, or go for a bike ride, or go for a hike. Or I mean, it is so laid back.
Right.
And I think it's really, really great for kids, because if you have children and you are out and about, and one of the children get tired, you can just go back. You can just go back and let them have a nap, and then go back out again. Even grandma and grandpa might want to go back for a nap. So it's just very, very easy. But I think it's a great vacation for families.
Oh, fantastic.
Ken, I will echo that on our Africa program. I literally just last week had an advisor who's the grandparents said, listen, we want to take our entire family on, a trip of a lifetime. And they basically have taken the entire ship, because our ship over on the Chobe only has 28 guests.
Right.
So they basically took all 14 cabins. Grandma and grandpa are paying for it all. They want to take their children, really experience a true African safari with the entire family and see this destination as a true multi-generational trip. So yeah, it's spectacular, the opportunities that are there for multi-generational travelers. So
Neil, you're giving me chills here. I can just imagine, like, one of the things with grandparents, probably grandparents more than anything, because we've raised the first round of kids, and now we want to spoil the second round.
Yep.
To take your whole family and expose them to something like that
Amazing.
in Africa, it would be absolutely amazing.
It would
Yeah,
be.
I mean, we have it on, Africa is spectacular.
Yeah.
I see it on Europe. I see it in the Mekong. I mean,
Yeah.
I blame my father, because when I was 12, my sister was 10, they took us on a beautiful East African safari. That's what got me hooked on travel. And instead of being a doctor or a lawyer that my father wanted, this is now why I'm in the travel industry. But it's honestly amazing when families can truly take that epic trip
Yep.
as an entire family unit to go and see and explore together. So,
And the Christmas markets is a wonderful family cruise, because they decorate the tree on board. They do caroling. They do Christmas caroling. You've got the Christmas markets during a certain time, and St. Nicholas comes and visits. It's fabulous for families. Fabulous.
and I always say that, like what Barb's saying is, yes, it sounds like, oh, those are children's activities that we're gearing towards
No,
children. No, it's because adults like to be young at heart and do all these things too. So it just works out very well that children can be entertained by the same things too. So
I've done 3 Christmas markets, Ken, and I would do another one in a heartbeat. I mean, they're just magical. They're just magical.
And I hear that all the time, that it's like stepping into a fairy tale. It's just that kind of atmosphere.
It truly is.
Yeah. Well, folks, this is absolutely super information. Is there anything else either one of you might like to add?
the one thing I will mention is we have one ship in particular,
Okay.
and that's the AmaMagna.
Right.
She is twice as big as our regular ships, which means there's more activities, there's more things on board in general. But I do find that families are gravitating towards the slightly bigger ship for their experiences down the Danube, because you've got a few extra things. You've got the pool, you've got the hot tub, you've got a pickleball court, which I know is geared at adults, but children love pickleball. It's like a whole cross ages, and that's the only ship we have it on. The suites are also bigger, up to 700 square feet. So I mean, again, there's more space. It tends to be the ones that families are gravitating a little bit more towards, just because of the size and the uniqueness of the ship, and it being one of a kind over in Europe. So,
and the Danube is a wonderful itinerary.
yeah.
And because she's a double wide, she can't get through the locks, so it must be on a particular portion of the Danube. Am I right?
Yes, it's upper Danube, lower Danube only. It can go up as far. So sometimes you'll have 2 ships entering a lock at the same time. That's why we were able to build her as one unit.
Oh, okay.
But yes, only can go on the upper and lower Danube. So it can go from Vilshofen down to Budapest down to Bucharest, or it can do a 14-night experience to do all of that as well. But yes, focused on the Danube only. So
Barb, one last question. For people that are looking to book a river cruise and are considering taking family along, what type of conversation are you going to have with them about the ages of kids and that sort of thing, so that you can make sure that that's actually the right thing for your client?
Well, I definitely qualify them.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely would, and ask all the right questions. But I would also urge them to book early. Any group, whether it's a family or a small group, traveling together, or even a large group traveling together, they've got to book early. I've got more bookings for 2025 for next year, this time this year, than I did for 2024 last year. And people are booking into 2026. And AMA has almost all of their inventory open for 2026.
Well, Barb, this is wonderful. If folks wanted to reach out to you about a river cruise with AmaWaterways or another vacation, how would they do that?
I would be delighted. It's 519-670-4448. I am in Ontario, Canada. I have clients all over North America, or they can email me at B for Barbara Chamberlain, CHAMBERLAIN, like in November, at DT, which is DavidTango.com.
Perfect. I'll leave that contact information in the description for folks that may want to reach out. But as always, since I love to live vicariously through the travels of all the wonderful people I interview on this show, I have to know where each one of you are off to in the next little while. What's next on your travel to-do lists?
Well, I'm coming your way, Ken. I'm coming out to Cape Breton to visit my son.
Oh, wonderful.
And then I'm doing a seaborne cruise. I'm hosting a seaborne cruise for Virtuosa Voyages in October.
And where are we going with Seabourn?
Barcelona to Rome, including 2 days in Malta at 2 different ports in Malta. So I'm kind of excited about that because I haven't been there yet.
Fantastic. And Neil, you probably don't get to go anywhere. They keep you chained to a desk.
No, I don't ever get to leave here, but the odd time they let me out, they forced me to take people on to river cruises. It's a horrible part of my job. So yes, I'm going to be hosting a river cruise in October and another one again in November, doing those absolutely fabulous Christmas markets that Barb talked about, my absolute favorite ones too. So I'll try to struggle through it somehow, Ken. So
Well,
It's a tough job, but somebody has to do it.
exactly.
Fantastic. Well, we'll have to have the two of you back to regale us with your adventures in Rome and Barcelona. Maybe we should get together and talk about another Christmas market sometime. How does that sound?
That's great.
Perfect. With that, I'm just going to wish the two of you safe and happy travels on all your future river cruises, destinations, and adventures. May the wind always be at your back. And I hope to see you on the sun deck of the AmaMagna sometime in the future.
That would be great.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Bye.
Thanks.
And that about wraps it up for today, folks. A very special thanks to my guests, Barb Chamberlain of Direct Travel and Neil Dudley of AmaWaterways. If you'd like to reach out to Barb about a possible river cruise vacation, I will leave her contact information in the description. If you'd like to reach out to us with a suggestion for a future interview or a comment, you can send a question to questions@realtravelexperts.com, visit our website, realtravelexperts.com, or simply leave a comment. We always respond. And as always, folks, if you enjoyed this content, a like, subscribe, share, and a ring of the bell is certainly appreciated and helps us to spread the word. So until next time, happy travels.